Hi, I'm Sharon. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where we're working together step by step through each of the ABRSM theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download these in US letter or A4 to accompany each step of this series to help you. There's a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and hints on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time come exam day. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel and share out those videos. And now we're going to continue with paper S at the back of the 2018 grade 4 practice paper booklet. So if you turn with me to page 23, we're going to start working on question 2. We're looking at melodic intervals. Melodic because they come one after another as if it was a melody, unlike harmonic intervals where they come one on top of each other as in a harmony. Now, regardless of what order the notes come in, we always count from the lowest note up. And then we also count this lowest note as our tonic. So regardless of what the key signature implies, you always take the lowest note as your tonic note and just apply the key signature to show you what that note is. So we're going to be thinking in B flat major minor here. So we know that the first thing we got is we got a 1, 2, we got a second, so that's half mark straight away. We've got a second of some sort. Now B flat to C, if we just visualise this, B flat to C is a major interval. It's a full step. Major means greater, minor means lesser. And then because of the C sharp, we've extended that further. And so we've gone from major, we've augmented that interval further. It's an augmented second, from major to augmented. There we go. So let's look at this next one. So first of all, we're on 1, 3, 5, 7, a seventh of some sort or other. And so we're in the bass clef, we're counting from A all the way up to G flat. Now A to G sharp would be major. Let's just look at this. So A to G sharp would be major because that's part of the major scale key signature. And then if we drop it down to G natural, that would become minor. Major means greater, minor means lesser. And then we've actually come down again to G flat, so we've made the minor interval smaller, we've diminished that interval further, and so that's a diminished seventh. There we go. Let's look at this next one. Still in the bass clef. 1, 2, 3. So we've got a third of some sort. So straight away, that's half mark sorted. Let's visualize this again. Now we've gone from G sharp to B. I'm going to start thinking about it in G. So G to B would be major. G major would have B naturals in it. However, because it's G sharp, we've raised the lower note. We've actually made the interval smaller by raising the lower note. So we've gone from major to minor. So that's a minor third. And actually we can see that's part of your G sharp minor triad. There's your minor third in the triad. G sharp, B, D. If that helps you to visualize it. But you can see how we've made that major interval smaller by raising the lower notes. It's a minor third. That's all you need to think about, really. Let's carry on. So we're still doing melodic intervals, but now we've got to create the interval. So after the note, to make sure it's melodic, don't add it as a harmonic interval. And of course, you're always counting upwards. So we need to create a perfect fourth. So 1, 2, 3, 4 takes us to B. Now then F, just to help you if you find it hard thinking in the key of F sharp, F to B flat we know is a perfect fourth. That's just the standard fourth. There's no major minor, and so therefore if we just parallel move it F sharp to B, you can visualize that also is perfect. Nothing needs changing there. Now here we're in bass clef, we're on a bass clef E. So we count up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's our basic 6th. Now we need to make sure it's major. That's a C, E major. Although this is the key signature, we must think this is our key. We need E major. E major would have C sharps, F, C, G, D. And so to make this part of the major scale pattern and a full major interval, that needs to be a C sharp. There we go. Let's look at this next one. Now again, for this chromatic scale, I really do recommend you keep a piano keyboard as a reference. Even if you don't play piano, it's a really good visual aid just to make sure that you get all of those semitones in. Now, to make a chromatic scale, all you've got to basically do is show every semitone next door note. They've given us the note heads, so all we've got to do is add the accidentals to make these fit the pattern. The only other thing to bear in mind is our starting note is D, and so the idea is that you keep the 1st, the 4th and the 5th in keeping with the scale pattern. So for the D major, for example, D is 1, G is 4, A is 5, and so we need to keep those as they are. So instead of, for example, thinking if you got the option, instead of doing G, if you could write F double sharp or A double flat, you would avoid that if possible to keep the G, and that should happen because they've got the notes laid out for us. So we're coming down in step, so we've got a D, so we need this next, which would be a C sharp. We could call it a D flat, but because they've given us the note C, we shall make that a C sharp. So the next note we need is C. Be careful though, that isn't C at present, that's still C sharp. So we need to get rid of that sharp by adding a natural sign. B can stay as it is, that's unaffected. Now here we could call that B flat, but because they've given us the note A, we will need to call that A sharp. Now we need this note, we need A, which of course is not the case until we've got rid of that sharp by cancelling it with a natural. Now we need a G sharp. Now we need a G natural. Now we need an F sharp. Now we need a natural. However, actually, we can't put a natural. And sorry, I should have just said, that's correct, yep, that's right. So now we can't call it an F natural because they've given us a note E head. And so what we have to call that is E sharp to make it fit where we are. And now that can be an E natural if we just cancel that sharp. And then we need a D sharp. And we should now be back to D. However, remember this isn't D until we've got rid of that sharp sound by adding the accidental. So it's really, really helpful to keep this piano keyboard as a visual tool. You notice here when we had to say E sharp, that was really helpful to just visualize that. So it's a really good tip to just sketch one of these out on your scrap paper. It doesn't have to be a work of art, just something that you can refer to. Now then we're asked to write a scale, the ascending scale of B flat melodic minor. We don't need a key signature, but we do need to put the accidentals in place, so we need to bear in mind what that key signature will be. Now I always write out my circle of fifths before I even start any exam paper, and that gives you all the major and minor key signatures. That's all of them. You don't need to go that far for grade 4. If you're not sure how to work out the circle of fifths, if you look at the link in the cards and also in the link in the description, you can see how to do that. I've done a video tutorial explaining how to work out that circle of fifths, and that does all of the hard work for you. You only have to do your thinking once, and then you can just refer back to it. It saves making mistakes when you're under pressure. So B flat minor is related to D flat major, which is a key signature of B flats, E flats, A flats, D flats and G flats. And so we're going to have to bear that in mind as a key signature. However, it's really important that you work in pencil. Mine's running out. Just go again there. Because we're going to have to adjust it to make the melodic minor form in a moment. But let's just get the notes in place. So let's get the blobs in the right place. We're writing semi-breves or whole notes, so we don't need to worry about stems. start on a B. Scale literally means step. So we just next door notes, line, space, we need a ledger line, space, that should take us to B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, F, G, A, B, yep. So then I'm going to put the key signature in first, but I'm going to have to change this in a moment. So we've got B flats at the beginning and the end. That's our key note. B flats, E flats, A flats, D flats, G flats. Now the melodic minor in its ascending form has a raised 6th and 7th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the 6th, there's the 7th to the 8th. Now these should be raised, so the flat, G flat for example, must become natural, A flat must become natural. So we now get rid of those, but it's worth just writing them in just to make sure you don't miss any steps out. Now you can leave them just open like that, or you can put a natural sign to show that you've done your thinking, or you can put the natural sign in brackets to show that it's a redundant natural sign. You're just showing that you've followed those thought processes through. And that's soon done. That's the end of that question. We'll look at the next question in the next video. I do hope this is helpful to you. I hope it's helping you with your studies. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated and share out those videos. Please also do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.